And the bottom line is you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't impart to others what you don't possess yourself.
We are here today. This is Utah Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Peter Anthony. I'm so excited because I love networking. I've always believed that your net worth is a complete reflection of your network. I've always understood that the only way to actually grow is based on who you surround yourself with. And that intention is what brings to us today one of the most prolific networkers in the country. He happens to be a friend of mine. I love extrapolating wisdom from people. Today we're here with Mr. Dan Rawls. I'm so excited, man. Welcome.
Man, I got chills you saying that. Literally.
I know, it's sexy, man. But the truth is, you have taught me so much about networking. You're incredible at the art of networking. And as we look here in this age of AI, Dan, we're looking and people are forgetting that business is done between people. And if machines are transacting amongst themselves, eventually they won't need the people and we'll just be slaves to the machines, which could be coming. But in order to avoid that, one of the things that I love about business is I love meeting other people and finding ways to support, help, and position them for growth. I know you do the same thing, brother. So tell me, well, first and foremost, welcome. I just love you. I feel very far away, but I want to hug you, man. I want to give you a big Italian bear hug. And then I want to talk about some of the ideas that you've had. You've built so many businesses. You've been prolific, across decades. What is some of your secret sauce to networking? Like, what do you think? Everybody has something to say about it, but when you say it, it's because you've done it. So share with me something really amazing that comes to your mind about networking. Like, what's the most important 2 or 3 things that you think might really dominate or help take people over the top that they don't apply?
Well, first of all, I'll start with what you just said about you. I shared with you at breakfast the other morning that you can't impart to others what you don't possess yourself.
Oh, so true, right? We had a big, deep conversation about that.
And there's so many people that, they'll go to a seminar and they'll hear a speaker and they'll take notes and then they'll kind of go plagiarize it in their own way. And the bottom line is you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't impart to others what you don't possess yourself. So for me, my style of teaching and training is I never get in front of the room and ask people to do things I'm not willing to do myself.
I think that's one of the things that makes you also an amazing coach and mentor, is that you actually have done the things and you're drawing from experience, your own personal experience, and then matched with the comparison of other people, high value people's experiences as well.
Sure. Well, there's a gentleman that comes to mind. He retired. He sold his company 6 or 7 years ago. His name's Dan Rawls, and he owned a company called Business Machines Company. And it was a big competitor to Icon and Danka, the office machines company, those national brands. And one of the things I always respected about Don is he always showed up to chamber events. He was always involved in the community. And he was my second member of my network after building over 100 groups with the company over 25 years. He was my second dues paying member and he stayed for 20 years.
Wow.
But one of the things that I always edify and talk about Don is he led by example. Whenever his recruiter and his sales manager, whenever they would recruit new salespeople, Don would hold their hand and take them out in the field and make cold calls with them. He wasn't the traditional sales manager, Peter, like, how many people did you see this week? How many calls did you make? How many people did you talk to? How many presentations did you give? No, he would go and show them the ropes right off the beginning. And so I think my first nugget, since you're asking for several, is stop looking at people as prospects and look at people as people and referral sources for you. I've taught this. I taught it for well over 20 years, is that so many people in sales and marketing, when they meet someone, it's like, oh, he's willing to have coffee with me or a breakfast, or we're going to this lunch. And it's like the person has the word prospect in a red Sharpie in all caps, bold quotation marks written on their forehead. And people don't like to be sold, but people like to buy. I mean, I'm in sales. I'm still in the same business for 37 years, doing the same thing with the same company. But I'm not salesy about it. I try to build relationships, and it's health related. And in my opinion, in this phase of life, Peter, people are either interested in their health or they're not. If I show you what I'm doing and you're not interested, I move on. I don't call you 10 times. 25 years ago, I'd call you 8 or 10 times and say, are you open for more information, or could I scratch you off my list? And now there's too many people to talk to. I don't really waste my time. You either want to change or you don't. And it's okay if you don't, but start looking at people as referral sources for who they are and maybe who they know, but stop looking at people as prospects.
It's interesting because no one wants to be prospected. And I think that's the hardest thing to overcome when you're hungry. And what do I mean by hungry? I don't mean hungry like you're ambitious. I mean hungry like if you don't get a sale, you won't eat tonight, nor will your family.
Right.
That sort of hunger.
Commission breath is another phrase that it comes across. And there's a phrase I learned from, there's a gentleman, he wrote a book many, many years ago. Someone gave me a CD, and there was this phrase, and he said, needy is creepy.
Needy is creepy. And you know what? In dating, that's 100% true. And how we do one thing is how we do everything. That's what my friend Les Brown says. And it's so true. When you're needy, you're repulsing energy instead of attracting it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Needy is creepy. I love that. Needy is everybody. Needy is creepy. Say needy is creepy.
And that's not my phrase. I learned that 20 years ago in a book. I'll think of the guy's name. But another thing that I think is important is networking is something, Peter. Now think about this, because you and I go back long 3 decades in business. People used to work 8 to 5. Remember those days?
Oh,
8 to 5 retail stores. They'd shut their door at 6 o'clock. The light's off. They go home. And things changed. Dial-up internet, cassettes went away, CDs. All the things in the timeline. But networking, in my opinion, is something you do a little bit of all the time. You don't do a lot some of the time. So someone said, hey, I'm looking for a part-time gig. I'm looking for a second business, a second profit center, a home-based business. Okay, well, I'm going to work that business after my family goes to bed, and I'm going to work it from 8 to 11 because I'm on the East Coast and I can call people on the West Coast. Networking is something that you do a little bit of all the time, not a lot some of the time. So if you're a true born passionate person and you want to build relationships, you asked me about this the other day about going to events, and you're like, Dan, could you advise me and coach me and help me understand which events to go to? I say no more now in my life than I ever have, but I'm selective. Whereas before, if you wanted to meet me in the Kmart parking lot, I was meeting you in the Kmart parking lot. And that shows you how long ago that's been. Okay. Like, where Kmart is. But for me, I think it's you network everywhere. And something I learned many years ago, it was a question called truth or delusion, is do you believe that you can network anytime, anywhere, any place, even at a funeral? Okay, well, that's not somewhere where you would want to network, but if you ran into someone that was a spouse of one of your clients and she lost her husband and you haven't seen her in 10 years and she inherited money and she didn't really know what to do, you're not going to call her 2 days after the funeral. It doesn't matter the person's funeral, but you're at an event. It's a life celebration, but you could maybe reach out 3 to 5, 6 months later and say, hey, Sharon, it's great seeing you. Love to get together for a cup of coffee. And you just kind of bring that up in conversation. You say, listen, we were sharing some things. I know you lost your husband 3 years ago. I don't know where your finances are, but I've heard a lot of stories. Listen, I'd love to introduce you to my financial advisor. He's been in the business for 44 years. I think that could be a great introduction for you. I really think that's something that could help you. Now, did I network at the funeral? No. Did I have one of my antennas up a little bit? Yeah, you always, I call it your acuity level. You always have to have your antennas up to be aware. And I like to ask people questions.
I love it. And as I'm listening to you, I'm wondering, well, I'm not wondering. I love networking. I'm ridiculously passionate about it, and I have rules about it. I'm 24/7. I'm always open to sharing. I'm continuously curious. It drives my children bananas because children are raised, especially today, they're so antisocial on their little things. And the idea for me is, just celebrate people. And that builds your network. I celebrate people. Doesn't matter where I am, who I'm with, I will create a memorable moment as often as possible. And then I find that those memorable moments come back. Because my antenna is always up, but my antenna is up not just for me, but for the breadth of people I market for. So if that person might be a consumer of a product where I'm really a B2B person. My company's B2B, but that person might be a consumer for one of the products that I'm passionate about that I market for. So I love what you're sharing. I think we need to invest in loving people and being curious about people versus being committed to prospecting. I think there's a big difference between networking and prospecting.
100%, 100%. And I think kind of around that is that, you said something to me at breakfast the other day. You said, what you want to know is, how did you get to know some of these people so well? And there's no shortcut to networking. You can AI, you can chat GPT, you can CRM, you can develop and list and all the different ways to market. But the bottom line is, this is factual information. Okay. Trust is the only thing in our lives that takes the longest to earn and the quickest to destroy. Okay. Let me give you an example of that. You don't call me a lot. You called me a bunch yesterday to coordinate this, but you text, short, communicate. If you called me over 3 weeks and you left me 2 voicemails and I didn't call you back, would you A, think I've fallen off the face of the earth? B, I've completely changed who I am because I'm a flake and I'm just not responsible? Or C, would you be concerned, or maybe a little bit of all the above? I'm just asking you.
So tough question for me to answer. I don't call people. That's my least favorite form of communication. And it says on my answer machine, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me a voicemail.
But the point is,
I would tell you in that if I'm calling you and you're not returning my phone calls
or correspondence,
but specifically calling, because I do call people. If you didn't answer, I would go through, did I do something to offend you? That would probably be I hope I didn't offend you. Are you still interested in this relationship? Or are you okay? And because I'm Italian and I live in constant guilt, at first I'm going to blame myself before I think something's wrong with you. Now, inversely, my wife would probably say, oh, there must be something wrong with them. Are they okay? And I'd be like, well, I think they're mad at me. And she goes, why would they be mad at you? Right. You haven't done anything. I'm like, because I'm Italian and I was born guilty, but yeah, I think that when you have so much space, there's room for misinterpretation.
You're right. So the reason I ask you that question is I built a reputation over a couple of decades in business that you could count on me, and I was known as the follow-up guy. That was just, that's just, I don't know, people labeled me that, gave me that quote informal title. But the point is rarely, Peter, would someone ever have to call me twice. And if someone called me twice, maybe it slipped through the cracks in a list of voicemails in my paper day timer where I would track all
Sure.
my voicemail messages. Um, and so,
Well, go back because you just unloaded some secret sauce. In your daytime planner, there's messages or notes.
oh, always.
That's the secret sauce. Why are you skipping that so nonchalantly?
Oh, well, my most recent event that I was at,
You can't show us online, but
no,
you can
it's
tell me.
okay. But I have my stylus in my phone, and the moderator said, "Hey, could you please to the table? Please don't be on your phone and texting." And about 10 minutes later, I clarified. I said, "Hey, I'm writing everyone's name down, and I'm pulling up my Pitch 59, and I'll share my code for you to scan my code because I want to exchange contact information. But that's not going to tell me what I want to know at the meeting here today."
So you take notes, gangster stuff. That's what I'm telling you, right? This is how you develop relationships. You're taking notes. So you're hearing it, you're seeing it, and then you're taking your hand and then you're writing it, which is a physiological response to audio and visual stimulus. I love it. I love it, man. That's super cool.
And it's old school, but you know what? I think we just live in this swiping paperless. 10 years ago, bought an iPad. I'm cool. I'm this. I'm paperless. And people who take notes and all that, the old school, guarantee you we run circles and relationships around others that don't.
Yeah, I 100%.
Oh, hey, man, let's get together. Well, if I say that to 3 women and 5 men at today's lunch meeting, how am I going to remember that?
Mm-hmm. I use a Remarkable.
Yeah, I have a tablet. Yeah.
Yep. So I love my writing tablets, and I have 10,000 pages of notes in it. People are like, "That's bananas." I'm like, but you know what? Sometimes I don't even refer. I probably have 100 journals with just notes that I've taken.
We should exchange journals for 6 months just to
Oh.
go back to the 90s and 2000s of all the seminars and the workshops. And
it's
oh my
crazy,
gosh,
yeah.
look at what
I
he
have
learned.
journals right from the 80s to today, and I always go back every once in a while. I'm like, man, I was thinking this, and I was putting down formulas, and I was today in So, but the first thing is, I want to, before I go off on a tangent, I want to lock in on the importance of taking notes about people that you meet. There's nothing more important than that. Even if you don't do it on the spot, do it. You have to take time to download, to decompress, and to anchor that relationship in so that you can move it forward. If when I go to networking events, I see speed networkers.
Yeah, professional networkers, they know how to work the room, right?
Well, they know how to get a lot of cards, but they never get a lot of business.
Okay.
And I equate it to the real estate agent. Hi, we're at a networking event. Hi, my name is John Smith, and I'm a real estate agent. And if you're ever thinking about selling your house, I'd love to earn your business. Well, you could have started, John Smith, by creating a relationship with me before you told me what you did and how it benefits you. And I see that so often at networking events where they're positioning how you can benefit them. And one of the things that I really enjoy about networking is I'm curious about your company. It's like, who can I introduce you to that's going to change your life? It's going to enhance you. It's going to do something for you. What resources do I have after 40 plus years of business that I can help you with? I think what you said too is I might have been the guy making the 10 follow-up calls 25 years ago because I was really building aggressively. Today, I build relationships aggressively, not prospects. I want to be friends with you. I want you to come to my home. I want to celebrate with you. I want to learn more about you because I don't any longer feel like my product is one size fits all. I think it's niched. And if you recognize that I'm cool to do business with, you'll ask me what I do, how I do it, and determine if it can help you. And I think in the sales funnel digital process world of 1 to millions, we overlook that. I'm no longer in transactional mode. I'm in collaborative mode, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So here's just a quick example. 10 years ago, I was out skiing on a ski trip, business trip for about 10 days. And it was the last run of the day. And I jumped on the chairlift and met this guy named Matt. And he was a really cool guy. He's a little bit younger than me and insane skier. We made one run together and I exchanged contact information with him. March 2015, expert bump skier, snowbird season pass. He knows an employee at Solitude and he works for Cornerstone Real Estate. Matt and I have known each other 10 years. He's probably met a dozen or more ski friends, other friends through me. We've never done business together. We kept in touch throughout the summer, a little bit that summer. This was 10 years ago.
Wow.
He'll be at my ski season party next week. And that's how I keep notes. I mean, like when I met you, Aquarium, December 2022.
Wow.
And so, yeah, people think I'm miraculous with my memory, but I can't remember everything. But I love to reference that and keep notes, whether I met someone on LinkedIn or social or in an event. And here's another thing, depending on who it is, there's a friend of mine, I call him the governor of the ski world here. But everybody I've ever met through him, his name's Michael, I type his name in the notes.
Oh, cool. Smart.
So same if I would do the same through you. Oh, hey, I met this person through Peter Anthony.
So that you can tie them together. So clever. So clever. What's if I had to do, because I want to bring this to a boil. If I had to do 3 things, name the most important thing I need to do to get started. How should I get started in building a network?
Start with people you know and you already have somewhat of a connection with.
Unpack that.
Well, I saw you do an exercise, which is brilliant, and I've duplicated it. I did it probably 10 or 15 times at different groups over the last couple of years. Pull out your phone. How many contacts are in your phone? Well, do you know all 7,000 people in your phone? No. Have you had some kind of connection with the majority of them? Yes. Some of those relationships go back to Atlanta or Chattanooga or Florida, and I'll probably never see him or talk to him again. But I think it's important to start with people that you know and you don't have an agenda. So company I work for introduced a new product 6 weeks ago. I'm not just going to blitz my phone and start calling or texting people, and that's going to be the point of the reason. I just want to reestablish a relationship. Hey, Peter, it's been like 6 years since we've talked. I understand you sold out. You're out of the hair care business, salons. Hey, listen, I just want to reconnect and have a conversation. What are you mainly doing now? What are you mainly working on? Yeah. And I may or may not bring up that business or that product on that call, but it's reestablishing connection.
Yeah. I think to reestablish or to maintain connection is key. I have an exercise I do weekly. I put out between 250 and 300 text messages every single
You're
week.
brilliant at that.
And I just say hello. Hey, man, just thinking about you, sending you love and light. Hope you're doing great. Let's find time to connect. I don't know that there's anything I'd want to ever do with them, but I don't want to lose connection with them, because if you were part of my life for a moment, I want you to understand that that moment was important to me, and I want to continue to celebrate that moment. So, you know, I think we both have a lot of connections. I went from 10,000 to 7,000. I deleted a lot of people, but I still have about 7,000 connections in my phone. So if you made it to my phone, you're super special.
Yeah. And I say the same thing. And it's not an egotistical thing.
Not at all.
But one thing that Jeff Bitton showed me recently with Pitch 59 is now they have a feature in the app when someone scans your pitch card, they can hit send info, and now it will share their contact information, even if they've never even heard of Pitch 59, directly to your phone.
Oh, that's cool.
And I, you know, he knows I'm like, that's going to buy your 6 kids shoes for the next 20 years, Jeff, because you remember how hard it was years ago? You didn't have that. And I'm like, Jeff, you really need that. So that would be one thing to unpack. That is that, you know, you don't go in just reselling There was a guy that kind of mentored me for a couple years. I saw him comment on someone's social media post, a big wig in the networking industry. And I gave Doug an amazing introduction. A guy used to print his books and make his audio cassettes selling his training programs. And he goes, "Oh, Dan, you were such a rock star in your 20s. I'm like, "Doug, like you taught me so much. I still use a phrase you taught me when I drove 14 hours to spend 2 days with you. I haven't talked to this guy in 20 something years." And he goes, "It'd be great to reconnect." I'm asking him like, "Hey, let's reconnect and have a conversation." There's no agenda behind that.
Yeah. And that's the key. The key is, the key is, I'll break it down. I think you need to be curious. I think you need to be focused. I think you need to be curious, and then you need to turn that into focus, clarity, and execution. And that was, focus, clarity, and execution is something that I got from a good friend of mine, Kevin Guest. And it's really important, because if I start with curiosity and then I have passionate focus, and I can follow through, and then I can execute on maintaining the relationship, eventually that person, because I stay top of mind for so long, eventually, if there's an opportunity, that person will remember me.
So interesting you said that word, because the person I just told you about taught me this phrase in 1990 in Virginia. I drove from Knoxville to go spend 2 days and watch him work his business with cold market prospects. And I have used this phrase for 35 years. Hey, just out of curiosity. I preface so many conversations. Hey, just out of curiosity, what are you doing now? If I see you in the Costco parking lot, in the gas station lot, hey, just out of curiosity, on a text message. Hey, I sent a guy a text this morning. I was making a shake and his name popped into my head. Young entrepreneur. He helps startups and he evaporated. Like I've sent him 3 text messages in the last year and a half. I'm like, hey, Dallin, like you fell off the face of the earth. He responded immediately. I was like, hey, just out of curiosity, is everything okay? What are you up to these days? He goes, hey, let's schedule a call, man. I'm sorry. I just been in the weeds.
That's cool. I love that. So the takeaway today, hey, just out of curiosity.
If you use that phrase in your business, it will change so much.
So much. So first and foremost, start with the people you already know. Go through your phone, reestablish connection, right? Without prospecting. Just reestablish connection. And you can, in order to reestablish connection, use a phrase like, hey, just out of curiosity, what have you been up to? What do you have going on? How are you? Something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I mean, I need to go back and listen to this and take notes. I'm not in the format I can take notes right now, so I'm feeling crippled by that.
No, but I think that's cool. I mean, those are your 2 steps, right? All you need is 2 steps to get back on track. For me, my whole business model for marketing, we always start with the entrepreneur and their lead team. We always start with all of their contacts. There's no reason to market beyond your contacts, because if you have 7,000 people in your phone like I do, I promise you, they're not all clients, but they somehow wound up in my phone for relationship.
Correct,
yeah. Outside of my mom, my dad, and my kids, everybody else could be a great prospect, but I need to develop the relationship before I prospect.
Yeah. And you said that years ago, that meeting when I met you and saw you speak. And, it's, we spend all this time marketing and establishing connection, and, it's a slow build. I'm just going to tell you, I'm a phone guy. It's just, for me, I've never done the broadcast and the CRM.
But they're afraid. People are afraid to ask people for help. They're afraid to establish contact, and they're not curious. They just live in fear. That's why they don't take their phone book seriously. And that's why most businesses fail. They don't fail because it's a bad idea. They fail because they poorly executed any type of marketing that was going to create cash flow. And the way we're in the best point of history. Everything is in our phone. We can find anybody's number, anybody's email. And what we'd rather do in so many cases, I work with people with incredibly huge egos, and what they'd rather do is cold prospect. They'd rather take out an ad. Well, sell the people. If your product and your execution and your invention and your solution is so good, share it with the people in your phone. Make sure you've told them. Ask them for feedback. Why wouldn't you buy from me?
So this is something that just came to my mind as you said that. Okay. Think about this just for a second. And you're right. Oh, how many YouTube followers can we get? Let's get how many views? It's just like, those people don't know you from Adam. You might as well spend 20 grand a month on the I-15 and get 10 billboards of a bunch of strangers driving by. The followers is great. The likes are great. The comments are great, but people do business with people they like, know, and trust.
Will never change.
I don't want a bunch of followers. I don't want a bunch of people that don't know who I am. And so my philosophy on that, just stick with me for a second. Peter, if you went and you signed a lease for this office space for 5 years, and whatever your business is, whatever you're selling, your product or service, excuse me, and it was $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year was your lease for 5 years. Would you want to run ads and a billboard and get a bunch of YouTube followers, or would you want to get a megaphone and say, hey, we have a grand opening. This is what we're opening a new salon. We've got this, we've got booths, I'd love to invite you to our grand opening. That just came to my mind.
Yeah. You got to get on your
Do you want a bunch of cold market people coming through that don't like, know, and trust you? Or would you rather preach your message with a megaphone to people? Wow, I haven't seen Peter in like 10 years. I'd love to stop by.
Yeah. You need to engage, re-engage, engage, re-engage. It is the way of, and again, everybody, the follow-up is key. The connection is key. I'd rather go to a marketing event and meet 5 or 6 people that I'm going to follow up with for 5 or 6 years than 50 people that I'm going to forget in a week.
So this is what I say about that. I have 2 rules of thirds, and I teach them both. Rules of thirds. A third of the people are going, I want you to picture you walking into a nice hotel, big hotel, big city.
Yep.
It's a revolving door. Your life and your business and your kids' friends at their schools, everybody has a rule of thirds. A third of the people are checking into the hotel, a third are checking out of the hotel, and a third are staying at the hotel. And all the people in your phone and your contacts and your social and your LinkedIn, guess what? A third of the people are coming into your life, which means you're always having to add new ones. A third of the people are checking out. You deleted 3,000 people from your phone, just life happens. And a third of the people are staying in your life. But you always have to constantly be cultivating this. It's the rule of thirds, right? I didn't learn that from anybody else. That's self-taught information, but I live that. I went to a meeting recently to reconnect with some people from my past and make 1 or 2 contacts. And almost every time I go to a meeting now, I reconnect with 1 or 2 people from my past that I haven't seen in a while, 2 months or 2 years or 5 years, and I make 1 or 2 new connections.
I love it, man. You're a stud. I'm so grateful you shared time with us. If you're in business in Utah, this is the Utah Business Spotlight. We are super excited to have Dan Rawls here today. Please share all of these videos. Find the little 1-minute nuggets that will change your business forever. And whatever you do, start being curious and networking and integrating with the people in your life already. They're going to help you build a powerful network that will feed you and your family for generations. We love you. Like, subscribe, share this, man, and start networking today.